So with that, I'm going to, I guess, officially get started. But I'm Stephen with CCSA. I'm the Outreach and Operations Coordinator. So I handle a lot of the recruitment of students and manage our application system. And I'm really excited to be joined by so many of our faculty and reps and partners. So welcome to all of you. And so today we're going to be talking about CCSA and the programs we offer. And to kick it off here, um, there we go. So I wanted to do a brief background on who CCSA is and what we offer. So we are a partnership of about 28 different member schools around the Kentucky, Tennessee area, and of course further out. But our programs are geared toward experiential learning. So we bring the classroom to you, and rather than reading about these concepts and places in the textbook, we put you hands-on in country, gaining valuable experience toward your degree and toward your academic plan of study. There's a lot of benefits to be gained from a study abroad experience, and certainly some really good credentials to add to your resume. Study abroad is it truly sets you apart. I mean, the fact of the matter is that very few students study abroad, a very small percentage. So having that study abroad experience on your resume is very valuable. It gives you something extra to talk about in the job interview, and it really gives you the opportunity to market some of the intercultural skills that you've gained through your study abroad experience. And so really, we connect the bridge of academics and culture. We bridge that gap, and we've been around for well over 30 years now at this point, so we're excited for the programs that we offer. Looking ahead, well, before we do that, we are a small team, so if you have questions, this is who you need to reach out to for those specific questions. So if you have questions about the application process or where to start, I'm more than happy to address that. Robert is our financial manager, so he can address all things financial related, scholarships, transferring aid, and things of that nature. And then any questions about program logistics should be directed toward Robin. So if you're wanting to book your flights, travel independently, or any questions about the on-site meals, accommodations, then Robin will be your point of contact for that. And then, of course, I realize I very accidentally left out our executive director, Jerry Barnaby, but that is our team. So looking ahead to our summer 2021 portfolio, we have a variety of options for you to consider. We have 2 programs going to Belize, and I believe Doug Hume is on the session right now. He's our faculty for Belize. So Doug, if you had a 2-minute marketing spiel, what would you say to convince students to sign up for your program? I'm going to put
It's
you on the spot.
unbelievable. No, I think what's unique about this program is that it's a community research experience. So we are not, we have some classroom activities, but what we're doing is going out and practicing anthropology, doing ethnography, working with community members, collecting data, presenting reports, and also getting to visit a zoo and climb a pyramid. So it's intense but amazing. And if you have questions, you can either email me. You can also look up Belize Ethnographic Field School on the internet, and you can find us and see pictures and movies and all sorts of good stuff.
Perfect. And how many years have you done that program?
2013 was the first year, and we've had to skip 2 different years in the process. So this will be the 6th time, I think.
Okay. Yeah, so we've definitely um, been able to, we've had some very successful experiences with this program. But yeah, thank you, Doug, for being a good sport. We also have our Ireland, Limerick to Dublin program. These are all set to travel early July, late June to early July. The dates are slightly different for each program, but of course on our website, you'll be able to find those specific dates. We have our London Midsummer program, and then brand new this year is a domestic program to New York, and we have several exciting classes we're offering on that. That's toward the end of July. And then we have an experiential program to Scotland. That'll be very neat. You'll get to see some filming locations for Harry Potter, for instance, where they shot the train scenes and some other things. But specifically the courses, you can see some of the disciplines that are covered on each program. It is important to note that if you don't see your major represented here, so for instance, if you are a business major and you're interested in Ireland, just because there's not a business course listed there doesn't mean you can't take one of those courses. You'll just need to ensure that you've met the prereqs for each course or for the course that you sign up for. So it is possible to take courses outside of your discipline. And we encourage you, as you consider courses, that you speak with your academic advisor to make sure that you know how the course will transfer and exactly what requirements it'll fulfill towards your academic plan. That is a common fallacy I hear with study abroad, that it might delay your graduation or might not count toward your degree. But we work with you, your study abroad advisors, and your academic advisors to ensure that it can, in fact, count toward your degree. Oh, and thank you, Dr. Mitchell, for pointing that out. It looks like I overlooked one of the classes in the Midsummer program. I know there's a theater course there, and there's a psychology course that will be offered for London Midsummer. Thank you for pointing that out. And in the New York experience, it'll be very exciting. We'll be able to include some of the Broadway productions within that theater course, so that's certainly a perk of that. There is no language requirement for any of our programs. We specifically travel to English-speaking countries. So if that's kind of a point of hesitation for you, there's no need to fret about that. Another common question I get is what to expect on site, as far as, you know, how often will you be in a classroom versus how much free time and personal explore time will you receive, which is a very valid question. And typically we advise students to expect to do for about 2/3 of every day to include mandatory class activities. And then usually about 1/3 you'll have your personal explore time. That does vary by program and by class. You might have a required course excursion that takes the full day, and then maybe the next day you'll have the entire day off for your personal explore time. It does depend, and it can change, but we will get an itinerary to you several weeks prior to departure, so you'll be able to make your travel plans and see exactly what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. But that's a very 50,000 foot overview of what we're offering for this summer, so we can take a look ahead and see what's on the docket for next winter as well. So we have 4 programs that we are offering. We have our London Winter program, which is 2 weeks to London. We have our London and Dublin program, so it splits up 1 week in London, 1 week in Dublin. And then we have our 2-week Australia program and 2-week program to New Zealand. Here's an overview of the dates and then the courses that are offered for that program. And again, if you don't see your major, it doesn't mean you can't enroll in that course. As long as you meet the prereqs, they are open. But we try to offer a variety of courses geared toward different majors. There is a lot of time between now and the departure date for these programs. So, we encourage you to fill out the contact form on our website. It'll pop up as soon as you navigate there, and then we can stay in touch with you and update you for as any events occur. Inclusive, all of our programs include accommodation for the full length of the program. All the course related and activities, entrance fees to Anything that's required of your course, any museum visits, those will be, the entrance fees will be included. Course-related ground transportation is included for our program. So in Dublin, that includes your LEAP card, which is the equivalent of a Metro card. In New York, that does include a Metro card, travel cards in London. So we'll be able to make sure you can get around and navigate your way through these cities. Daily breakfast is included, and typically we offer a welcome dinner and a departure dinner that's a group meal. But we understand that while you're on site, you'll want to explore the cuisine yourself. So we do leave lunch and dinner flexible for you. But of course, we're quick to give recommendations. Health and emergency evacuation is included for all of our programs, insurance, and then on-site directors and staff 24/7 that are there to support you to make sure that you have a safe and wonderful experience. And most of our programs offered a group airfare option. All of our programs also offer an independent travel option. So if you'd rather book your own flight and go early or stay late, you're more than welcome to do that. And then finally, I thought it was important to mention some of the updates in our response to and some of our procedures that have been impacted in the midst of COVID-19. And of course, we recognize that there's a lot of time between now and the departure dates, even of our summer programs. So a lot can change, but we will try to be as transparent as we can with all of our policies and make sure that you are kept up to date. And as it stands, these are some of the updates that we've made to address traveling in the midst of a pandemic. And a lot of this does depend on, of course, the vaccine, how effectively it can be rolled out, and the availability of it. At this point, we can't even confirm whether or not it'll be required of us to get it, and I'm sure many countries will require it, but ultimately we'll stay on top of that and communicate those requirements. As it stands, you will need to provide proof of a negative test prior to boarding the plane. So we'll walk you through test sites that are close to your location. We'll also cover this extensively in the pre-departure orientation that's required of all participants. On site, we've addressed concerns with our hotel policies. We have procedures in place should someone get sick or not feel well. We've updated our training for program admin and staff so they know how to handle these situations on site. And our on-site medical response has been updated to address these concerns and to make sure that we are all on the same page. And then as it stands, prior to your return to the US, you'll once again have to be tested while you're on site and provide proof of a negative test. So on-site staff have been trained to locate a testing site. They'll be able to walk you through that process on site and hopefully keep it as smooth as possible. And then once you return, we do recommend a 10 or 14-day quarantine just for the safety of you and those that you interact with. Of course, a lot of this could change, so we recommend you fill out the info form and stay up to date with CCSA updates. So what's next? If this has piqued your interest and you think you might be interested in a study abroad with CCSA, we encourage you to submit an application for your program of interest. There's no financial commitment to do so. You can submit the application. You have until March 30th to make your commitment to the program. We have implemented a new no-risk refund policy, which means until March 30th, you have no financial obligation to participate. And if you decide prior to March 30th, if you decide you no longer wish to participate, then we'll withdraw your application, no questions asked. And any money you've put down, including the application fee, will be refunded to you. Hopefully that will provide peace of mind as you consider some of your options and whether or not to apply. We also encourage you to meet with your campus representative. There's a list on our website of who that individual would be at your office. And I believe we also have each campus represented on the call as well. But they will be your study abroad office contact, would be a great resource for you. And we encourage you to meet with them as you consider applying with CCSA. Check out our scholarship opportunities and know whether or not the financial aid that you're currently receiving can be applied to a CCSA program. In a lot of cases, this can be, and that could certainly benefit you. And then if you have any course-specific questions, if any of the courses look interesting, but maybe like a sample syllabus, or you have a specific question, email the instructor directly. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you, and they would love to address those questions specifically. But that is a very quick overview of CCSA and what we're offering for the summer and next winter. But at this point, I see it looks like we have, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, but Jackie, and I think that might be the only student I see on here. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to address those. Hey, Jackie, did I get that right, or did I run that?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, perfect.
I do actually have a question. So on the website, I know the stuff for the winter of like next winter isn't up yet. Information about that, is there any way to get it or like have at least a vague idea about what's going on there?
Yes, actually, that's going to be posted live by the end of day tomorrow. So we're working to update that.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's on our test site, it's live, so we just have to publish it. So as of midnight tonight, it'll be available for you. Which campus are you on?
Murray State.
Murray State, perfect, cool. Glad you're here. Well, we have a lot of our faculty that have previously taught and also served as admins as well. So I invite you, if there's anything you would like to interject or any advice you may have. I also wanted to mention at this point, it's very important for our students, Jackie, if you don't have your passport yet and you're looking to do a summer or even winter program, you need to get on top of that as soon as you can. A lot of that process is significantly delayed due to the pandemic. So it could take upwards of 4 months, which, 4 months from now is already summer. So make sure you know whether or not your passport, even if you have one, make sure it won't expire. So. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Jackie, I just wanted to say hi, and I'd be the face you'd want to come and talk to if you have any questions. So we'll get you on a program.
Perfect. Well, let's see. I'm just gonna walk you through. So I want to invite Daniel. I know you might not want to do your full presentation, but you are welcome if you want to mention your London Midsummer course that you're offering. We'd love to hear more info about that.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I think I probably emailed a bunch of you recently with advertising for the course that I'm slated to teach this summer. The course is a music course that satisfies fine arts, also a history component as well on many campuses. Lots of the folks that I've talked to and my own students at Thomas More, which is where I teach, I'm an assistant professor of music there, are slightly behind, and largely due to COVID, behind on their core curriculum requirements, behind on their kind of graduation plan. And so I just wanted to make this offer for anyone that's interested in gaining fine arts credit to get back on track and perhaps not stay an extra semester or whatever it might be, to consider this. It ends up being financially useful, at least on my home campus, and largely probably likely as well on your home campus as well. Jackie, the funny thing that you mentioned is that this class that I'm about to talk about is also being offered in December 2021 as a part of the winter session as well. So you're welcome to stick on if you'd like. Stephen, if you want, you're welcome to put up the little PowerPoint-y type thing. I'll try to go as fast as possible. And if you guys are not wanting to stay on, that's totally okay. Or if you want to check out for a few minutes, that's fine too. But I'll at least provide some information that's kind of basic stuff, and we go from there. So, Stephen, I don't know if you have that as a part of your regular PowerPoint. Or
Yes.
great. Yeah, I'll go very quick just talk about the actual course. And if you have any interest or folks that need fine arts credit, you're more than welcome. So, Stephen, if you just want to go all the way, you guys all know about London. We're having all these lovely pictures and images of London and how awesome it is. Some quick facts about London, some students from former programs. I've also taught at Keys, Salzburg for the past 6 years. So this will be my first time teaching with CCSA, but not my first time being in London. So yeah, keep on going. All the lovely images of former students and everything else. So we've talked about the actual program overview, July 18th to August 2. In my heart of hearts, I think that the world will be a very different place. And so again, if you're, I think that London specifically will be one of those spots that will be very well taken care of in terms of the COVID pandemic. So what I love about this program is the fact that you're actually in London, which is arguably the most expensive thing about being in London is staying in London. It's a highly expensive city. And so you actually have that entire thing taken care of. So Stephen, if you want to go ahead. Yeah, so looking at, this is the fun math that I've done, and as campus reps or as students, you've probably done this in your head as well. My favorite thing is the affordability of these programs, $24.99 plus airfare, which includes all of these very important things like ground transit, like cultural program excursions, like program directors, your academic credits, which is insane. The number that I've actually put on this is currently incorrect. The summer credit at Thomas More per credit is $740 a credit, which is probably comparable to some of your institutions. So reasonably add another $300 to that, and you actually have about a very similar number, and to get those 3 credits that are going to put you on track to graduate or knock out a course requirement, fine arts or history course requirement for you. So and then obviously there's generous scholarships from CCSA as well as your own home institution. So another talking point for students. I love just to highlight really quick as well. Again, you are campus reps, you know, my favorite thing about CCSA is health insurance and emergency evacuation. I will tell this very quick story. I've been teaching in Salzburg for the past 6 years, and I actually had this happen where a student, she really wanted to wear high heels on cobblestone, and she broke her foot. And the remarkable number is that to get her cast and everything else, it was a whopping €20, which I told my Salzburger friends, and like, that's absurd. It cost her €20. And I thought to myself, wow. So again, regardless of where students study abroad, and Jackie, if you choose to study abroad with CCSA, that's fantastic. If you choose somewhere else, that's fantastic. But do make sure that there is health and emergency evacuation insurance, just so then you are covered should anything happen, which is not like the most fun thing to talk about, right? Everyone wants to talk about all of the amazing things of study abroad, but to also know that your investment in your safety and your health are the top priority. Stephen, if you want to go ahead to the next one, and just more students. So again, the course I'm actually teaching is a fine arts, at least at Thomas More, it's a fine arts core, a history credit, and a general elective. There's some flexibility in what your campus might offer as well. But looking at the idea of it, you have to have a great name for it, right? Beheadings, Beatles and Bowie, music and culture clash. And so looking at the way in which music reflects struggle, music reflects clash, music reflects tension, these things. So I frame this course in a way that every single day will be in London, which is another selling point for students, why take a class about music and not be in the city that you're talking about. So we'll start anywhere from the 17th century religious wars between the Anglicans and the Catholics, and literally composers who are writing for all of these British monarchs. They literally just want to keep their heads. They're trying to figure out, how do I not have my head chopped off? And so the answer is, I change my musical style to align with whoever is in power at that point, all the way up to modern people like Amy Winehouse, the album Ziggy Stardust, looking at people like Jimi Hendrix. We'll go to Jimi Hendrix house. We'll go to the Abbey Road studios. We'll talk about all of these different things that are really important, I guess, for understanding how music is both a reflection and in some instances an instigator of conflict in cultures. So Stephen, you want to go ahead if we're on there? We will have an opportunity to sit in choral evensong at Historic Westminster Abbey. A colleague of mine is the director of choruses there. We'll actually sit in a rehearsal for with the boy choir, the world famous boy choir there. Something that would be a fantastic, amazing experience. And you'll actually be able to hear the music. Remember talking about those guys that were talking about getting their heads chopped off. You'll get to hear the music of those folks in an actual service. Steve, if you want to keep on going. And then we'll also go and do a live performance at Covent Garden with the very popularized English opera. And what is that? How is that different from Italian opera? We'll continue on. So I know this is a lot of information. Yeah, and then looking out all the way up to the Beatles, Bowie, Jimi Hendrix, and all these folks, and why are they important? What's happening with the American jazz explosion? All these different things. And there's, I think, maybe one more slide, even to the extent we'll actually contextualize up into the early 2000s with people like the Spice Girls, which is kind of insane to think about, right? And then as well, the idea of Amy Winehouse. We'll actually get an opportunity to go to the Camden Jazz Cafe, have dinner and a show, which is the last place that Amy Winehouse performed before she tragically died. So lots of different things. We'll also talk about what's happening in contemporary London street music, the underground rap scene, how it's also a reflection of cultural and social conflict. And Stephen, there's just one more slide, I think. This is, sorry, yeah, we are scholarships, and I think probably one more. Maybe one more? Yeah, so this is just kind of for everyone, why study abroad? This is a former student of mine at Keys, Salzburg, and she is now a professional musician. By the way, this course that I'm talking about right now is completely musician friendly or non-musician friendly, so feel free to advertise that to your students. But again, that Kayleen is talking about how much study abroad has changed her life, and she still talks about it today. If you were in frigid Cincinnati right now, you could actually talk to her in person and say, "Hi, well, tell me about your study abroad experience." So that's kind of my thing. Sorry to kind of take up any of your time. If you have any questions whatsoever, if you have students that are looking for a course, we have several spots open, or we have many applications, but also all are welcome. So send them my way if they have any questions, and Stephen can pass along my contact information.
Thank you. I appreciate that quick overview. And of course, that's just a glimpse into one of the courses that we offer, but I think a lot of them offer very similar experiences with material directly applicable to their course's content. Well, Jackie, and I think I had overlooked a student, is it Fatin? If you're there, I'd like to say hi.
Hello, yep, hello.
Yes, hi. Thanks for joining. What campus are you on?
At WKU.
Oh, perfect. You're close by.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And yeah, we would love to, if you have any further questions, or if any faculty have any advice you would like to share, any of our faculty or admins, I'm sure we would love to accept that.
Can I add about the passport? So mine was coming up due, and I think it would expire 3 months past our date. And usually you want to make sure that it expires at least 6 months past your intended return date. And I did the pay extra, get it done fast thing, and that took 6 weeks. So they're really bogged down right now. So if you need a passport, like now's the time, and you might just go ahead and spend that extra money to make sure that you get it back.
Yeah, I know we've emphasized that quite a bit, but it's worth emphasizing. That is one of the most important pieces that you can be working on right now. Well, we are right at 30 minutes.
Can I jump in?
Yes, absolutely.
Question. Well, I'm a student at WKU, as I mentioned, and I also work as a graduate assistant in the Office of Global Learning and International Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
I am an international student. So is there a way for international students to participate, in study abroad programs, although they're already abroad, in the United States? Have you had any experience with international students participating in one of your programs?
Yes, yeah, that's an excellent question. We have worked with international students here at Western before on our programs, so that's not new territory. There are, uh, I don't, separate, maybe different processes you would have to go through as far as visa requirements, depending on your citizenship. There are probably some extra steps you'd have to apply if you needed a visa, but we're happy to walk you through that. So it's certainly a possibility.
Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. Are there any other questions? The last thing I wanted to leave with is that this was, this session was a very general overview of what we're offering for the summer and winter. Starting next Monday on the 8th, going through the following Friday, which is the 19th, we'll be doing a daily information session, about 30 minutes, where we've invited some of our faculty that are teaching on the upcoming experience to share, just as Dana Parsley did, about their class. So if there's a specific class you're interested, the schedule of these sessions is posted on our website, so you can tune in for that. It's the same registration link each day, and it's at 3 o'clock Central, Monday through Friday for the next 2 weeks. We'll be having a daily session. So feel free to tune into those as you want to. We'd be happy to have you. And with that, I think this might have been one of the shorter meetings probably of the day, but I really do appreciate the student engagement and the questions that you asked. And if there are no further comments, then that is all I have on the docket. But thank you for hanging out with me, and especially for our reps that have been through these sessions all day. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Stephen.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.